I was at the fish market busy selling some crabs to a customer when I turned around and saw this guy stealing our fish. He quickly ran away. I grabbed a stone, aiming it at the thief, but suddenly a guy appeared and it hit him instead. Hey, what was that? Let go of me! Shouldn't you at least apologize? I looked over and the thief was nowhere to be found. The thief's escaped! You should apologize! But the guy just frowned and huffed off. Hi, I'm Serena, and I was brought up here, in this picturesque fishing town. When I was little, I lost Mom and Dad to the sea, so Grandma raised me. We couldn't afford school for me. Instead, I helped Grandma sell fish at the market to make ends meet. But things weren't always easy. Serena, you all right? Yes, I just wish people wouldn't steal. I know. Hopefully it was an extra stinky fish that will give them a tummy ache. That's Edward, my best friend since childhood. Edward's parents are also fishermen, so we naturally bond together and grew up inseparable. Later, Edward and I were busy closing when I heard murmurs and saw Mr. Elbridge, the fishing enforcement officer.
Anyone caught poaching striped bass will be given a hefty fine.
What? You gotta be kidding me! Sir, it's only considered poaching if they were caught out of season, which they're not.
Oh, really? Do you have the legal documentation to overpower my decision? Nope. Thought as much.
He's obviously abusing his power. At home, I told Grandma everything that had happened at the fish market.
I know it's not fair, sweetie, but maybe one day you could study, become an amazing lawyer, and help the local fishermen. I want to help. I can tutor you if you'd like.
That's brilliant! Since then, Edward stayed true to his word and tutored me. He was smart, kind, and so patient in explaining things to me. Time flies, and by the time I turned 13, I had the biggest crush on Edward, but I had no clue how he felt about me.
I'll wash up. In the future, I'll always share the housework with you.
What does he mean by that? Does he also have feelings for me? The next day, when Edward and I were having ice cream, some kids came in and started making fun of me.
Do you know eating too much ice cream makes you fat? Oh, of course you don't, because you don't go to school. Ha. She doesn't need to. She's still far smarter than you'll ever be.
Why did you always stick up for me? Is it because you think of me as a
little sister?
I need to stop daydreaming. He doesn't have those kinds of feelings for me. Then, when I turned 17, something terrible happened. Grandma fell so sick that she passed away. At the funeral, I felt so alone with all the adults around, and Edward was nowhere to be seen. When everything was settled, Uncle Leon said he'd take me to live with his family in the city. I had to tell Edward, but when I got to his house, it was all locked up. So I quickly slid a note with my uncle's address under his door, then left for the city. As soon as we walked into the mansion, Aunt Clara and Rachel were already there, frowning.
Ugh, can you smell rotting fish?
Ew, get yourself some perfume, please.
Enough! You will make Serena feel welcome here. Please prepare a nice room and everything Serena needs.
Uh-oh, not a good start. But then Uncle Leon had to go away for a business trip and asked Aunt Clara to find me a tutor as he was afraid going to school might be a shock for me. I was so excited to finally study and pursue my lawyer dream. However, all the tutors Aunt Clara found were terrible. I actually had to teach them simple sums. Meanwhile, Aunt Clara showered me with errands to run. Suddenly, I saw a blur of a dog and boy and smash! You idiot! How am I meant to cycle home with an injured knee?
You're hearing this, Rex? How is she gonna cycle back home? Sorry. I'll take you home.
I accepted his offer, mainly because I didn't exactly have much choice. What's your number?
Wow, that was quick.
Stop daydreaming. I need it in case I decide to sue you. The guy, Henry, finally quit fooling around and gave me his number. When we got to the mansion, I caught sight of a familiar figure. Edward! I limped over and looped my arms around him.
Who are you?
Before I could respond, Henry shrugged his shoulders, then left. Edward then told me all about the tragic events that had happened to him.
My father made a bad decision to go dynamite fishing. The Coast Guard caught him, but as he tried to run away, his boat smashed into a reef. We needed to move to the city for his treatment. Luckily, I got a scholarship into college here, so I can study and also care for Dad. I'm so sorry it's taken me this long to find you.
That's okay, I understand. It all sounds terrible.
What about you? So you live in that big mansion now? Is that guy your boyfriend?
Henry? Oh, no. He's just
good because, well, I wanted to tell you that I missed you and I love you, Serena.
But you said I'm just a sister to you.
I was 13. I didn't understand my feelings back then, but I do now. Serena, not having you by my side felt so empty. Will you be my girlfriend?
We started dating and having Edward by my side felt so great. I was complaining about my terrible tutors when Edward suggested he become my tutor instead. That's a great idea. You'll need to prepare an atrocious CV for my aunt to hire you. And it worked.
I don't expect you to get very far with this one. She is rather dumb. What's the deal with you two?
She doesn't like having me here. Halfway through the lesson, Edward got a call from the hospital asking him to pay his dad's bills ASAP before his condition worsened. I was comforting him when Rachel barged in. Serena, go get me some ice.
Oh, hello there.
Get out!
Who's that?
Rachel, my cousin. Edward seemed distracted after that. I guess he was upset about his dad. He told me to continue with my worksheet and went to the bathroom. I finished the work, but Edward still hadn't returned. Was he lost in this massive house or something? I went to look for him and was shocked to see him and Rachel happily laughing together.
Hi, Serena. I was just getting some water.
I ignored Edward and continued studying by myself.
Are you jealous? I was just being polite.
Darn it, he knew I couldn't be mad at him when he smiled at me like that. But as we continued studying, I couldn't fully shake away my uneasy feeling. But the next day, I was waiting to study with Edward when
Edward won't be coming today.
What? I asked her why, but she just walked off. As she left, I heard her ask the maid to bring fruits to Rachel and her new tutor. Huh? Since when did Rachel have a tutor? Sensing something was up, I sneaked over to Rachel's room and spotted Edward?
Serena, what are you doing over here?
Oh, is stalking your new hobby now? I looked at Edward, but he just sat still, so I ran off with blurry eyes and an aching heart. Edward tried to call me, but I just ignored it. That night, he texted me and insisted on waiting for me. I wanted to hear him out, but I was still so angry at him.
Serena, please. Your aunt told me I couldn't tutor you anymore and asked me to be Rachel's tutor instead. I need the money for my dad's treatment. I can't turn this amount of money down.
Ugh, my aunt was such a witch!
I'm so sorry. I would much rather be tutoring you. You're the only girl for me, but I can't lose this job. So let's keep our relationship a secret, okay?
This was no big deal, right? It was me he wanted, not Rachel. Edward's birthday soon arrived, and we have a date at this restaurant today. I was excited when my phone buzzed.
Sorry, babe, something's come up. Can't make it. X.
It must have been something super important for him to cancel like that. But on my way home, I passed another restaurant and couldn't believe my eyes. Edward and Rachel were sitting together. Rage swarmed over me, and before I could stop myself, I charged in there. Edward, how could you? Jeez, what's up with you? He's not even your tutor anymore. Ask him how long he's known me for.
I was just your tutor, that's all.
I couldn't believe this, so I stormed off. I felt like such a fool for ever believing his lies. While running in tears, I bumped straight into Henry.
You look like you just got dumped.
It was the straw that broke the camel's back, so I started crying louder.
It's not me. I didn't do anything. Please stop crying. Anything you want, anything. How about the aquarium?
It turns out the aquarium was just what I needed. Watching the fish was so relaxing, and Henry was surprisingly a lot of fun to be around. Your parents must be super easygoing to put up with you.
Nope, my lawyer mom is way opposite.
Oh wow, that's cool. It's my dream to be a lawyer.
Is that so? My school's interviewing for a law foundation course. You should apply.
A law foundation course, huh? Should I give it a try? I arrived home feeling better, but Aunt Clara wouldn't leave me alone with her usual mocking routines.
You spoiled ingrate! Soon you'll be 18 and I can rid my hands of you!
I had enough! So I decided to apply for the foundation program Henry mentioned. It was time to focus on my dream without any further distractions. I studied hard and went to the library for materials. Henry offered to help, and even though I still found him childish sometimes, he was actually quite smart and knew loads about the law. One time, Henry invited me to come watch his debate team. Only when I showed up and spoke to Henry, I saw Edward walk in.
My dad's ill, yet here you are, with him? Serena can go where she pleases.
It's okay, Henry. I got it.
Rachel's just my friend. I love you, not her. I just need to earn enough money. Then I'll end this mess with Rachel for good.
What he did was still hard to accept, but he was in a tough situation. I would be a terrible girlfriend if I didn't support him, right? Despite all this drama, I'd been studying hard, and now it was time for my interview. Only on my way there, I saw a woman yelling at two students.
Watch where you're going, you idiots!
Excuse me, but this is a pedestrian crossing, hence the driver's fault for not stopping.
How dare you speak the law to me, you little girl! Do you know who I am?
But as everyone started buzzing, she had no choice but to drive off.
What happened?
I explained it to him and pointed at the woman's car. He didn't say anything, but seemed quite surprised. We then went to the interview, but when I told the assistant my name, she smiled and said, "You don't need to draw a number. Mrs. Shodden was impressed with your profile, so she wishes to interview you herself.
It's best you follow the right procedure."
I was a bit confused, but Henry knew better than me. Anyway, I had my interview with someone else, and I passed. Yay! Since then, I studied hard, and Henry helped me a lot. On my first oral exam, he even came along to encourage me. Only, as soon as I stepped into the room, I saw that rude woman standing there. Hang on, she's the judge! Nerves wriggled at me, but I kept calm and nailed the exam. But afterward, she charged over to me.
"Don't expect a pass from me, you manipulative girl, seducing my son to get into this college."
Huh? Her son? Who?
"Mom, you can't do that. The exam's recorded. They'll see you're just being prejudiced. I insist you cut ties with this schemer at once. She humiliated me in front of a crowd and tried to smudge my impeccable reputation." "No, she didn't. She was just telling the truth." "Oh, and that day, I purposely called her in for an interview, but turned out you intervened. And ever since then, this snake was following you everywhere. So end it at once or leave."
So this woman is Miss Shodden? And worse still, she's Henry's mom? Suddenly, Henry grabbed my hand and led me out of there.
"How dare you! You're ungrateful and spoiled! I only adopted you so I had someone to look after me in my old age. But you know what? You'll never be my son!" "Don't forget to take your meds twice a day."
Seeing him talk back to his mother just to defend me, I couldn't help but ask, "Henry, why did you help me so much?"
"It's because Mom was in the wrong, and seeing you getting pushed around hurts me a lot."
"Why, Henry?"
"'Cause I like you a lot. Let me be there for you."
Henry, your mom shouldn't have spoken to you like that. But she was only angry because she cares about you. You should talk to her. I really hope things will turn out fine between them." Henry dropped me home, and now all I could think about was his love confession. To be honest, I do have feelings for Henry, but what about Edward? What about our years spent together? Suddenly, I got a text from Edward asking to meet up. I guess it was time to sort this out. While waiting for Edward to order ice cream, I got a message from Henry, saying he was coming to my place for some great news. I asked him to come pick me up instead.
"This reminds me of our fishing village in summer and getting ice creams at the end of a sweltering day. I love you, Serena. I always cherish our memories together every day."
Edward, actually, this isn't working. I think we should stop seeing each other.
What? Why?
I soon realized that something was wrong with our relationship. I just didn't have the courage to face it. We had a special friendship that I cherished and nurtured, but now I think it's time for me to accept the truth that we're not meant for each other. Bye, Edward. I wish you the best with Rachel. As I stepped out of there, I saw Henry waiting for me, and I instantly felt better.
I made up with my mom. She apologized for what she said in her temper and told me that I would always be her real son.
Henry, that's brilliant news! Right then, I got a message from Miss Shodden.
"Serena, I apologized for my behavior. I am most pleased Henry is getting to know such a righteous lawyer in the making."
It looks like everything's falling into place. I arrived home, not expecting to see Rachel in a fit of tears. "Mom, make her leave! This is all her fault!"
"How dare you bewitch Edward! He's quit tutoring Rachel, and now my poor Rachel is distraught. I will keep on hiring you awful tutors and see how long it takes until you break." "Is that so?"
So Uncle Leon stopped Rachel's allowance and took Aunt Clara's credit cards off her. He also made them apologize to me. I told him about my foundation placement, and he was so happy for me and offered to rent me an apartment near the college. It's time to live my dream. Now I just had one thing left to do. Take Henry to visit my hometown with me.
This place looks familiar to me. I know, I think I came here as a child. Yes, this weird little girl threw a stone at me and then got mad.
I suddenly realized Henry was that tourist guy I met when I was 10. Yep, that would be me. Henry seemed surprised, then suddenly pulled me in.
I guess some things are just meant to be.